Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher Locke. I'm the IBPA Director of Membership and Member Services, and this is the Get to Know Your IBPA Member Benefits webinar series. Okay, so what we love doing about this series is that we want to give a more in-depth look at your member benefits. And today we're covering Klickrr and tips for text message communications. So this is going to be a really helpful one. And to tell you more about that, we have Klickrr co-founder Bianca Blake. Hello.
Hi, Christopher. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thanks for having me on the webinar today. Hello and good afternoon or good morning, everyone, depending on what time zone you're in. Hopefully, if you're on the Eastern time zone like me, you've had lunch today and you're ready to sit back, relax, and learn a little bit about texting from Klickrr. So as Christopher mentioned, my name is Bianca Blake, and I just want to make sure everyone can see my slides. Just want to check and make sure, Christopher, if you can just let me know, because I want to get going here before.
All good. I see him.
You can see him? Okay, so can you see me moving back and forth?
About our company was the next one. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. Just wanted to make sure we're there. All right, so I'm Bianca Blake, as Christopher mentioned, and Klickrr, co-founder over at Klickrr, and we have partnered with the IBPA to offer a member benefit that centers around texting from your publishing company to the audiences that you serve. So that's what we're here to talk about today. But before we get into that, I just wanted to let everyone know what we'll go through throughout the webinar today. So first, we're going to just give a quick overview of Klickrr as a company and our capabilities. And then we'll go in a little bit more detail on the IBPA member benefit. Christopher just mentioned it, but I want to make sure that we just overview that before we go into the discussion around texting. So then we'll talk about, the reasons why you might text, some examples of how publishers might benefit from texting, some stats around texting, some tips that could help you through entering into this text messaging channel. And finally, we'll do a demo of the Klickrr system and leave some questions for Q&A. So as Christopher mentioned before, there's a Q&A feature, and we'll stop and pause throughout the webinar to answer your questions. I think this works best if it's tailored towards any questions that you may have. So if you want to save them to the end, we'll have time there to answer questions. But if you want to ask them, if I'm talking about something specific that you have a question on, just shout in the Q&A and we'll pause and answer that question there. So if there are no questions, we'll get going. So Klickrr. So Klickrr is a marketing technology company. We're co-located in Atlanta and New Delhi, which is great, so we can serve our customers pretty much around the clock. Our company is mainly focused on leveraging software to more effectively connect companies and their audiences, companies and or organizations with their audiences. So our team is led by a set of co-founders, myself, Bianca Blake, and my business partner, Prashant. And we have loads of expertise in marketing as well as software development. As such, we're able to serve, companies of all sizes, from, small startup, smaller organizations to governments and larger multinational corporations. And we also partner with a set of strategic partners that enable us to stretch our capabilities even further. So that's Klickrr in a nutshell. And what we do at Klickrr are three main buckets of activity. So one is consulting, which is more like offering our expertise to projects that you may already have ongoing. Then there's coding, which is all software development. So whether it's integrating our systems into your existing systems, building something exciting and new, building a website, anything small to larger coding project, you name it, we can do it. And then the third one, which is what we're here to talk about today, is communication. So whether it be email communication, as I mentioned, what we're here to talk about today, text messaging communication, or short links. For example, when you text someone or email someone, you generally include a link. We have capability to help make those communications easy, straightforward, efficient, effective, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So what is the IBPA membership benefit? So Klickrr is partnering together with IBPA to offer a 25% discount on 2 of our Klickrr subscriptions. And Klickrr does offer texting and monthly subscriptions. We have 3 subscription levels, and 2 of them we've discounted for our IBPA members by 25%. And what those memberships get you, you'll see on the slide there, the $29 membership buys you 1,250 messages per month, plus a keyword, and we'll get into what a keyword is in a little bit. And the $99 subscription buys you 5,000 text messages per month plus 2 keywords. So keep that in mind as we go through the rest of the discussion today. And if you have questions, we can come back to it. But as we talk through more about texting, this is the offer that IBPA and Klickrr have partnered together to offer as a member benefit. So let's get into it. Why should you text? So increasingly, more people are becoming open to receiving text messages from organizations or from companies. And if you hear me say the word SMS, SMS is an acronym that stands for short messaging service. It's interchangeable with text. Text is sort of the slang or the more conversational word we use for SMS. So yeah, people are open to receiving this. Who are these people? People. It's me, it's you, it's us, it's everyone. All of us are more open to receiving these. And I might invite you now to take a quick look at your text message logs from, let's say, the last 24 hours. And I would be willing to bet that you have received at least one text message from a company, whether it's a one-time password. It could be multi-factor authentication from, for example, a bank offering you a code to help authenticate that you are who you say you are if you're logging into a secure website. It could be customer service. It could be a promotional text message from a company that you are purchasing products from. It could be a notification from a doctor's office saying, hey, your appointment is coming up. So there's loads of reasons why companies and organizations send messages via text to us. And increasingly, we are more and more open to receiving these types of messages, and actually look forward to receiving them if they're relevant, right? So moving on. So again, why should you text? A few stats here. So texting is real time. 82% of people, and again, people, all of us, say that they open every text message they receive, and 70% of people think that SMS marketing is a great way to get their attention. So this is the majority of people are open to receiving these real-time messages. Texting is relevant. So 83% of people would like to receive appointment reminders via text. They actually want to have that relevant communication cut right through to their mobile phone. And 54% of people would like to receive promotions via text. And lastly, texting builds relationship. It is a very intimate way of communicating with your audiences, right? More so than some of the alternatives like email, out of home, social media, et cetera. 50% of folks that were in this same survey say that they would opt in to a SMS or text message based loyalty program if they were offered flash sales, deals, or coupon in return, right? So that's the reason why you might text. It's real time, it's relevant, and it builds relationship. Well, does it really work? So texting is breakthrough. I would venture to guess that even during this webinar, as I'm speaking, somebody is receiving a text message. And if you receive a text message, more than likely, you are going to take a look at it. You take your phone, take a quick look at it, and engage with it. So back to our stats. Texting drives higher click-through rate than email, with open rates as high as 98%. That means almost every text message that is sent is opened. As far as engagement, people are 134% more likely to respond to a text message than they are to respond to an email. And 86% of businesses find that texting generates higher engagement than email. So going back to that text message that you're receiving probably now while I'm talking, right? What this means is that if you receive it, you're more likely to take a look at it, open it, and engage with it, which means clicking on the link or responding to the message. It's quick, and therefore it requires less to engage with it, which increases engagement, right? And as far as a real use case, we do have a client that is in this publishing world. They offer editing and writing services, and they have added text promotions to their marketing mix and have seen a 50% uplift in the packages that are promoted via texting since adding texting. So that's something that we're very proud of, and we can say definitively, does it really work? Yes, it does. All right, so moving on. For publishers, what are some, let's say, use cases? That's the question that we're answering here. For publishers who want to attract authors, how might you use text? So here are a couple of ideas here and a texting communication flow that can answer that question. So if you want to attract authors, if you're the type of publishing company that publishes books on behalf of other authors, and you're looking to attract authors to your publishing company. Some ideas of texting: you might text out deals on some of your services, whether they be writing services, publishing packages, reprinting services, etc. You might share content links to some of your authors to add value to their writing process. You can show your authors some appreciation, to again build that relationship along your journey with those authors. So, for example, here you have publishing company X, or PCX. Remember, this is a short message, so we gotta keep it tight and to the point. So PCX is texting their author list and saying, hey, reply yes to get the code for 30% off of our publishing packages. And the person received it, replied yes, and there was a automatically generated message that provided the code to those folks who said they wanted to receive it. So that's sort of just an example. If you're a publisher and you're looking to attract authors, how might you use publishing, right? So we'll keep moving. If you're a publisher who wants to attract readers, so say you are a publisher who's self-publishing your own books, or author publisher, or you're a publisher who is publishing books for others, but is supporting them as they attract readers and sell more books. Some ideas for texting could be that if the author is speaking at a book launch event or a conference of some sort, and they're on stage, they have a captive audience, they could promote their book from the stage at these different speaking engagements by inviting, the captive audience to text a word to a specific number, and then they could receive the electronic version of their book, or a coupon code for the book, or some special offer that would promote their book. They could promote the book with a coupon. They could text out a coupon for their book. They could text out giveaways, make texting part of a giveaway program. They could use texting to announce new books to existing readers. So folks that bought their first book, now they have the sequel coming out. Hey guys, did you know that this book is coming? They could also use texting to sign their readers up to be test readers. So if they want to get a feel for how, the chapters are landing on them, or if they want to have test readers, this could be a good way to disseminate that information. You text out a link to the first tidbit of your book, a chapter or a few pages of the book, and you get some feedback there. You could use the text messaging to promote your author store. So if you have multiple offerings in you're publishing a new book, you could be promoting the store to get sales on your existing books as you're promoting the new book. And another one here is to ask for book reviews. So again, you could continue to develop that relationship with your readers by asking them to provide a review on your book. So those are just some ideas of how you might provide relevant information via text and promote your books to your audience of readers. And last but not least, for publishers who want to promote their business, right? You could solicit reviews again for your services. You could promote your company's events via text. You could also use text messaging to distribute a company newsletter. And just to provide an example of this, I have uploaded these slides. Now, again, I will say that you do not have to do this to get the slides. Christopher is going to provide the slides to everyone on the webinar today. But if you want to see how this works, all of these things, all these different ideas that I'm mentioning, you could text the 4 letters IBPA to the phone number shown on this slide, and you will immediately receive a text message in return with a link to download these slides. So just showcasing pretty much in a real-time example how information disseminating works with texting, how immediate it is and how quick it works. Okay. All right, so tips for texting, right? So I've got 4 tips here, and before I go into the tips, I just want to mention that the same sort of idea, when you're texting from a business, you want to just keep in mind the same type of things that you would keep in mind when you're texting peer-to-peer. So that's just sort of the headline, right? So tip number one, less is more. A standard text message is 160 characters long. It's meant to be short. It's meant to get to the point as quickly as possible. It is possible to send longer text messages. So if you absolutely need to send a message that's longer than 160 characters, it is possible, and we can do it for you at Klickrr. It is also possible to send media, if you will. It's called an MMS, a multimedia message with graphics, etc. It is not recommended because this channel is to be for short snippets of communication, not for a very long communication. So tip number one, less is more. Number two, no one, absolutely no one likes spam. Not me, not you, not anyone, right? And my company specializes in texting, right? So not even us, we don't like spam. So the recipients on your list, they are opting in to receiving a certain type of message at a certain frequency, from your company. So you want to be very careful to send the messages that you have agreed with your list that you will be sending them. And if the messages change, then let them know before you change the messages so that they will continue on this journey with you, right? Tip number three, tell them who you are. So remember in our example preview on a couple slides back, publishing company X identified themselves, even if it was just with a few letters to let you know, hey, this is publishing company X. It helps build relationship with the folks that you're texting with. And it also reduces opt-out. So at every point when you're sending a message, your recipients have the opportunity to opt out and no longer receive messages from you. You want to build that relationship and you want to keep them on your list. And so sending them relevant information, letting them know that it's coming from you. So as soon as they open the message, they're like, oh yeah, this is coming from, and then they're more likely to engage with your message, right? So tip number three, tell them who you are in every message. Tip number four, what do they do next? So you want to make sure to include a call to action. It is not recommended to dialogue over texting, right? So you want to, within your 160 characters, you want to let your audience know how can they continue this conversation. So think of texting as that initial conversation starter, and where you want them to go to continue the conversation could be, they could email you and you guys could dialogue over email. They could pick up the phone and call you. You could provide them a phone number to call. They could click on a URL and go and visit your website and have more engagement there. But make sure that you let them know what to do next in these texting and in the text message. Again, similar rules or tips, if you will, for if you're texting peer-to-peer or your friends and family, you want to keep it short to the point. Make sure you're texting them things that are relevant. Make sure they know it's coming from you. So some of these things are the same. It's just that when we start texting as an organization, sometimes we forget, how texts are meant to be sent. And so these are just some tips for if you're going to get into this text messaging channel, just a few things to keep in mind. Okay. And with that, I would just pause for a second. I don't see anything in the Q&A. So I'm going to now go into a demo with some screenshots of how our Klickrr system works. I mentioned before that we do have plenty of time after the demo for questions, but I just pause here before I go into the demo to open it up and see if anyone has any questions about what I've spoken about thus far.
Yeah, I've been writing questions, and everyone, please feel free in the Q&A to put questions. I won't ask mine yet in case other people start asking questions, but I certainly have a bunch that should also be helpful, but I'll wait.
Okay, cool. So how does Klickrr work, right? So a lot of times with software, the intricacies around the platform are kind of a little bit hidden behind logins and paywalls and things like that. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time quickly to just show some screenshots of what our software looks like. It is meant to be simple. It is meant to be a do-it-yourself type of a software. So with that, I'll just click through it so that if you do decide to sign up with the IBPA member benefit discount, that you can just kind of get going immediately. We're happy to do an onboarding, not a problem, but some people want to engage with the company and some people just want to get going. So I'll just click through a few screenshots here. So the first thing when you create your IBPA, when you create your Klickrr account through the IBPA membership benefit, you will navigate to the profile page. So we do at Klickrr have to collect a little bit of profile information, because we are setting up a phone number that you'll be using to send these messages from. And we have to let the carriers know who it is that is managing this phone number. So there's a bit of business information that is going to be requested on the profile page before this bottom portion of the screen opens up, and you can put in your coupon code that you would get from your IBPA membership benefit and subscribe. The payments are processed securely on PayPal, so we don't have any of your payment information. And yeah, so you put in your business information, choose your subscription level, put in your coupon code, subscribe, and your Klickrr account has been set up. Then you'd want to navigate over to our list section here. So the menu is on the side here, and upload a list. And there is a template here. It's a very simple template. It's an Excel spreadsheet that has a column labeled phone. It's pretty simple, right? So you would put all of the phone numbers in a single column labeled phone, or you could download our template, add them to that, and then upload a list from your laptop or from your desktop there, upload it into the system. And then all of your lists will be shown here within your Klickrr account, right? So once you upload your list, create your account, upload your list, you're then ready to send a message. So then you would navigate over to the outbox, which is where you go to send a message. And you're looking specifically for outbox compose, and you would compose a message very similar to how you might compose an email, right? You name it, you upload a list, you identify yourself. As we mentioned before, we had publishing company X. The system will automatically identify, put into the sender ID the name of the company that you put into your profile. So if you want to change that or shorten it, you can edit it there. And then if this is the first time that you're texting a list, we do require some sort of welcome text. Again, this is all meant to help you abide by some of the best practices for texting. There's also some information here that says if you do want to include first name and last name. So, hi, Christopher, thanks for signing up. This is Klickrr, that kind of thing. You could include F name and L name to include, and the system will pull that from your sheet. So if you do want to include that, then you would need to include on your template a list of first names, a list of last names, and the phone number. So you would have multiple columns. It's fairly simple, but again, we can walk you through that if there's any questions. And then you would enter your message here. There's a preview box over here. So as you type the message in, the message shows up over here to show you what it would look like when your recipient receives it. And we've got some character counts down here to let you know when you've hit your 160, so you don't go over. So that's there for you to kind of help guide you along the message composition process. And then this large green bar down here, you would click to send the message now or to schedule it for later, right? And there's a clock that would pop up in the calendar that would help you with which day and time you want to schedule it. So that's composing a message. Once you compose it, it would then get added to your outbox list. So these will be all of your messages that you're composed. The status, are they in the process of sending? Have they been sent? And from here, you could either copy the message if you want to send the message again to the same list. You could delete the message from your list if you wanted to do that, or you could download a delivery report. So this is one feature that our users find particularly useful, is a report that shows by number which text messages were delivered and if any text messages bounce. For example, if you're trying to text a landline or a phone number that's not text enabled for some other reason, the message won't go through. You could clean those numbers off of your list, but we wouldn't charge you for that, but you could at least know that the message did or did not go through by downloading this delivery report. You could also go and compose a new message. So those are the action items from here. So this is your outbox. Again, similar to, I like to compare it to an email outbox. So it's there for you to see kind of all of your activity. Keywords. So with the subscriptions that we were talking about today, one of them comes with one keyword, the other one with two keywords. And the natural question is, what do you mean by keyword, right? So there are 3 keywords that are pre-configured with every Klickrr account. And those are stop, help, and start. And that's for compliance reasons. So the texting is sort of regulated because this is messaging going out over our telecom system. And people need to be able to opt out. So you've got stop as a keyword. It's pretty generally accepted keyword across all text messaging, that if you reply stop, you will be opted out. And a automatically generated response will be sent to the recipient, letting them know that they've been opted out, and they need to reply start to resubscribe. Therefore, start is configured to let you know that you've been resubscribed, and help is there in case they need help. And the message that's automatically configured is to let them know if you want to unsubscribe, you reply stop. So those three are automatically configured, again, just to help you to send messages that are compliant. Now, I've configured a keyword here, Klickrr, that's the name of our company. And if you text Klickrr to the phone number, you see that my phone number is here. We send all of our messages, by the way, from toll-free numbers. Someone has asked me before, well, can I send it from my phone number, or what if I want a local phone number? And I'll just pause here and answer that question. You don't want to send it from your own phone number. 10-digit phone numbers send messages slower than other phone numbers that are configured to send messages. So you want to send them. It seems when you're texting peer-to-peer that the messages go through instantaneously, but when you start sending hundreds and thousands of text messages, the speed actually does matter. So we send our messages from toll-free numbers. If you do want a local number, we can do that. We can provide a local number for you and have it configured to send at a speed that makes sense. Also, if you want, if you want to send it from a number that you're already using to send text messages, we can port that number in and use that. So we do have some flexibility around the number, but it is not recommended to send it from your own personal phone number. All right, so back to keywords. So Klickrr is a keyword that I've set up for my Klickrr account, and I can, from this page, I can edit my response. So if I wanted to change this to say, find out more at klickrr.com/plans, or include some other message, I can edit it using that button, or I can download all of the numbers that have texted my keyword, so I can get a list that is specific to this particular keyword, right? So you could also use keywords to segment if you have multiple authors. Maybe, one keyword is for one author, another keyword is for another author, or for different books. And people who are interested in this one book can be texting and corresponding with this one, and you could create a list that way and segment your list based on your keywords. So that works out really well for a lot of our customers. I've also configured the keyword IBPA, as I mentioned previously. If you text IBPA to this phone number, what you'll get in response is a link to download these slides. If you haven't already done that, or if you've joined since I mentioned that, there's another keyword that I've configured on my Klickrr account. Okay, so that's keywords, and we can talk more about that in Q&A. And then there's your inbox. So for anyone who responds, whether they respond stop, start, help, the keyword, or if they make any response to any messages you send, that'll all show up in your inbox. And because most of the responses are stop to opt out, not to say that everybody responds that way, but most people who do respond are responding to opt out. We've allowed for you to hide all of the stop messages so that you don't have to sift through those messages to get to a different response, right? And as much as it's not recommended to have an ongoing dialogue through text, our system does allow you to make one reply to someone who has sent you a message that is not stop. Obviously, if they send you the stop message, they get that automatically generated message, and their relationship with your texting program is complete. But if they message something else, like if for some reason their link won't open or something like that, you can hit them with one response and answer that question, or maybe clarify where they need to go for further conversation. So that's your inbox. And here I'll just talk a little bit about list building. So I'm talking about opting in, and for people who have email lists, you might have experience getting opt-ins, but we have a list builder on our system that helps our clients build lists. So you fill out this form here, ask you for all of the things that you need, choose the color of the list, where you want the list builder to go on your screen, and then it creates a code. You copy the code, paste it onto your website, landing page, etc., and the list builder would show there. It's a form that asks for people who land on your website to provide their email and phone number, and it provides a few appropriate terms and conditions It says, hey, by clicking this and by providing this information, I am opting into receiving these types of messages from this company at this frequency, which is what you want, right? So, and all of the emails and phone numbers that are provided through this list builder create a list that would be housed in your list section on your Klickrr account. So this is something that we provide complimentary to our clients to help them build compliant lists. And last but certainly not least, we have the activity log. So the activity log is exactly what it says. It logs all of the activity on your account. And if for some reason you needed to delve into this, you could export all of the messages that have gone out, all the ones that come in, to a CSV file and just peer through it. If you have questions like, well, how many messages did I send this month? And who responded and what numbers, so on and so forth. It's like more data than you ever want to see. It's available there, and you could just export it to a CSV and make charts, whatever you want to do with it. Like the data is there for you. It's your data and it's there for you. So, that's mainly how it works. A lot of these latter pages, are kind of managing the campaigns after you send them. But the first couple pages, you log in, create your account, get your subscription going, upload your list, send the message, download the delivery report. So that's pretty much all I have on our system and on texting. I wanted to make sure to leave enough time for us to have Q&A and dialogue about how this works for publishers. So with that, this is my contact information. If you want to get in contact with me, I can be reached at bianca@klickrr.com. And obviously our website is klickrr.com, where you can get this information and also sign up for an account. And with that, I will one more time with the IBPA membership benefit, but with that, I'll open it up for Q&A.
Awesome, thank you. That was great. And everyone who registered for this webinar, I'm going to start just texting you all to my Venmo and just start sending me money. That's what I'm going to start doing now. I feel good about it. So that was really informative. We have some questions, and then I have questions too. Okay, so does Klickrr provide the terms and conditions, or do clients have to?
So I'm assuming that this pertains to the list builder, because on the list builder, let me just go back to that really quickly. Here. So here where it says link to your terms and conditions. So this should be your terms and conditions. So depending on the type of company you are, the terms that you provide might be different, right? So we can provide guidance there, but it should be a link to your terms and conditions. So if you're publishing company X, for example, it might be, pcx.com/terms, right? So that's where your terms might live. So yeah, we do require you to provide a link to your privacy policy, to your terms and conditions. So this just lets people know how you're using their information, and if there are any terms that they need to be mindful of by signing up on your list. So yeah, so you provide the terms.
And go ahead. Do you have more? Okay, so another question is, what kind of automatic analysis reports does Klickrr provide for a campaign, or is that additional consulting?
Right, so that's a great question. So for each campaign, the delivery report is as much information as we provide. It tells you number by number if the message was delivered, and if it was not delivered, the error code, why it wasn't delivered. There is a pie chart on the delivery report that shows you like the percentage of messages delivered, the percentage of messages that had this error code, that error code, et cetera. But that is provided complimentary for every single message that's sent. If additional analysis is needed, then we're happy to provide that via like extra consulting or whatever. But for the most part, most people are just concerned and want to know kind of which messages were delivered. And then there's also the inbox piece, right? So like if you request people to respond, yes to the, then you have your inbox and you can download. Let me go back to the inbox. I'll show you here. You can download all of your messages from your inbox, and they have the phone number that replied to your message, the message and the time and date stamp that they replied. So you could group them by, if you wanted to know, I don't know, like if you're asking people to reply yes, and you're at a function on Monday and another function on Friday, you could get all those yes responses from Monday and yes responses from Friday in your inbox from that download.
Okay, great. So you shared some really great ideas of why publishers would use text communication. So I wanted to ask, based on like an example. So let's say you're on stage and you're giving a speech, and then you did that idea of, hey, if you text this number, then I'll give you the first 3 chapters of my book. Mm-hmm. So what are the rules in terms of what is that person signing up for? Is that person now signing up for your text message to just receive, like they're opting in, or are they just signing up for that moment to receive that?
So they are opting in to receiving messages from your company, primarily associated with that book. So that's a little bit of a gray area there. So the thing is, if you are saying that from the stage, you kind of want to give a little bit of a, kind of an overview and just let folks know, like, these are the types of messages we send. If you're interested, text now, we can send the book, so on and so forth. What you wouldn't want to do is the bait and switch, right? You wouldn't want to say, well, text me to get these first 3 chapters of my book, and then start sending them every single day, 10% off of this and 5% off of that, because that's not what they signed up for. What you might be able to do, so think of, again, like if you were in relationship with someone, right? If you're having a conversation with them, the next thing might be a text message that says, so if you've read the book, could you, answer this, provide a review, or answer, how was it? Or some poll to say, I love this, I didn't like that. So following up about the information that you sent them, right? It's not against the rules to provide a promotional text message to those people, but you would, based on what you told them when they signed up, they might opt out of it. So if you're using that as a magnet to build your list, you just want to make sure that you're upfront with everyone. Like, we're so sure you're going to love the book that, we reserve the right, if you're interested, to text you a promotional offer for this book in about a week's time. We promise we won't spam. Spam would be if you started sending them something that was completely unrelated to the book, completely unrelated to that author, completely unrelated to your publishing company. No, that's not what they signed up for. And then they will be wondering, like, how did you get my number? This is not, I don't remember signing up for this at all. So, so yes, they are opting in. People who text keywords to your phone number are opting into receiving messages from your company.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So Renita had a question again about the reports. Can the campaign reports be compared so you can see what types of campaigns are more successful versus others in terms of whether people click the link?
So it depends. So as far as the link is concerned, it depends on what link you use. So at Klickrr, we do offer our own version of short links. We are able to track that on our own links if you use our link, but some folks use different links that they might use. Their website might be so short that they don't need to shorten it, and so they use their own website link. Or they might use a different short link, in which case they would need to check the analysis associated with the link. So the Klickrr platform will let you know if the message was delivered or not delivered. After it's delivered, it becomes the job of the link to measure engagement, unless you're using a Klickrr link, in which case we can offer that service as well, to help you see which links were engaged.
And so I wanted to ask about the habits of how often. I mean, you talked about this a bit, but I just want to see if you have any more kind of detailed ideas of, like how much is too much? Is once a week good? Or like, because I mean, I wouldn't want to get too many, but what do you find to be the most successful?
So I think the unfortunate reality is that it depends, right? So if this is an evergreen conversation that you're having with someone on an ongoing basis, we don't recommend anything more than once a week. And once a week is probably even too frequent, right? Mm-hmm. However, If you are in the middle of a book launch and you've got a lot of activity happening over the course of, say, a 3 to 4 month period, there may be just a program that says, kind of 3 weeks out, pre-order starts, today. Like it might be relevant to send a cadence of messages that is more frequent than once a week, given what's happening. And then after whatever, like if it's an event, conference, book launch, like if it's something that requires it, then it would be relevant for you to do that. And then after whatever the point in time happens, the book launches or the book event happens, and after that, then you might then, go to your once, maybe twice a month. If you're kind of, this month is like, hey, can I get, what about reviews? If you have a review, click here to leave a review. And the next month it might be, something different, but we don't recommend, nobody wants to receive messages very, very, very frequently, right? So generally speaking, in your terms, you would say, we will message you no more than once a week or no more than once a month. Most companies say messaging frequency varies, because then that gives them a little bit of flexibility to send messages as they need to. But I think it depends on the type of program you're running. And if it's something that is ongoing and evergreen, it should, like, we work with a bank that wants to offer promotional deals to their account holders. Their frequency was once a month, twice a month if it was like absolutely necessary, but just like, so that just gives you an example of something that's like ongoing. Mm-hmm. But I do believe that when it comes to events, there might be a case to be made for being more frequent if it's relevant.
Okay. So you mentioned about text versus graphics and stuff like that. Someone's just wondering, does Klickrr like allow graphics, or is your platform only text?
So the short answer is that we do not enable MMS or multimedia messages. Our platform is only for text. Now, the middle ground there is special characters or like emojis and things like that. So you can send emojis. The reason why we do not offer MMS, so we can do that. So that is something that would be a custom code. We can provide that service if that's something that you absolutely, like if you want to text a flyer to the book, or if you want to text out the cover of the book or something like that, that is absolutely possible. It would require us to get into that coding pillar of what our company offers, some software development there, and build something custom for you. The reason why we don't do that on our platform is that it's much harder to monitor. And there are, because we mentioned previously that texting is, the messages go out over the telecom infrastructure, and therefore there are certain things that you can't send, you can't talk about, you can't message about. And so that is much, much harder to monitor with multimedia messages. And you'll be surprised the type of media that gets sent over phone numbers when it's seemingly anonymous, or it's not their phone number, that kind of thing. So it just becomes a little bit more difficult for our company to make sure we keep people compliant, or companies compliant. So we do not offer that for that reason, but it is possible if you need it. We can just do a custom coded project.
And like an example, that would that be like if you have a book coming out and then you would include the picture of the cover or something?
Yes. Now, what I will say is that most times, if you have a landing page where your book is the main graphic, if you text the link to that landing page, it's generally, I don't want to say always, but generally speaking, if the page is built correctly, a thumbnail will be visible to the recipient. So they will see a graphic, the main graphic on the website. And I'm not, you probably see this when you do instant messaging as well as texting. If the link is there, the graphic will show, even though the graphic is not being sent, because that's the main thumbnail graphic of that mobile friendly landing page. So sometimes you do get the graphic. There's some, I don't want to get into like too deep into the weeds as far as software and when that works and when it doesn't work, but that's something that has worked very well for some of our clients, is sending the link and having the thumbnail show up.
Okay, yeah, then you're right. Like if someone sends me like a YouTube link or something, it'll have the YouTube, like whatever, the thumbnail. So yeah. So someone, they might need to clarify this, Dietrich. You mentioned, what's the max number of docs? I'm thinking you mean documents, or that can be sent back as a reply to someone signing up. But does
So
that
you
make
mean-
sense to you?
Yeah, so what I'm understanding this to the question to be is like if you're inviting someone to text your keyword, let's say, you know, you're publishing company X and you say text PCX to this phone number, and I'm going to send you back immediately, you know, like you said, my the first three chapters of my book, or I'm going to send you the slides to this webinar, or I'm going to send you my speaker notes or whatever it is, because I'm on stage. So don't worry about taking notes or taking screenshots of my presentation. I'll send you this. What I understand the question to be is how much of that can you send back, right? Mm-hmm. And the answer is you can send as much as you want to, as long as it's on that one link, right? So, or you can send multiple links if you wanted to, but as long as they're within 160 characters, right? So the constraint is, you know, if you wanted to reply, if someone sent a message to sent your keyword to your phone number and you wanted to set up an automatically generated response, it could say, thanks for signing up, or whatever your kind of message around that is. Speaker notes here, slides here at this link, and first 3 chapters at this link. Like you could send 3 different links if you wanted to. The only constraint really is the number of characters in the message. And then in reality, if you wanted to put them all at the link, what you could do is set up a landing page that has a button that says, click here to download speaker notes, click here to download slides, and click here for the first 3 chapters of the book. So you could just house all of that information in one area, so that you would send one link and they could go there and get it. You could also send links to, you know, social media accounts and things like that. So there, I mean, a link is literally just an address that could take you anywhere you want to go. So we would recommend using the text channel to guide them to where you want them to go, as opposed to trying to get everything in there. But you can definitely do a lot in 160 characters, especially when you're using short links. Short links are generally no longer than about 20 or so characters. So you could get a few of those in there if you needed to.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned about that phone number. So I wanted to ask, like, when you set up that phone number, like, is that just, you just use that for going forward for your Klickrr account, or do people ever like change the phone number for some reason?
So it is possible to change the number if you want to, but the reason why we work in subscriptions is because we want to keep that phone number live, right? So as I mentioned before, when people are opting in, they're opting into receiving the text message from this particular phone number, which is associated with your company, the message frequency and all those other things. So we want to make sure that if a month goes by and you decide that you don't want to send any messages that month, that you don't lose your phone number. So that's why it's a subscription, so that you're think about, like, you know, mobile phone, you know, right? Even if you didn't call anyone, which is, I know that's just ridiculous to think that you wouldn't use your mobile phone or your smartphone throughout a month. But if you didn't, you would still pay, because in the next month, when you decide to use it, you want to make sure that you're using the same phone number, right? You don't want to call someone from a brand new phone number, and every single one of your contact list is like, well, who is this? Like, and as an individual, you can say, oh no, it's Christopher, and oh, hi, Chris. But as a business, you may not have that level of relationship with your recipient list to change your phone number that frequently. So it is possible to change it if you needed to, like if you wanted like a vanity phone number, or if you needed a short code for some reason, if you wanted to send millions of messages and you needed a very, very fast messaging speed that could not be accomplished with a toll-free number. Most messaging speeds can be accomplished with a toll-free number. But if you absolutely wanted to send like all of America a text message at once and needed a short code or something, we could provide that for you, and you know, you could use that. You could switch over your account over to that phone number. So it is possible, but the reason why we have subscriptions is that we assign your account a phone number, and your account uses that phone number for all of the messages sent via Klickrr.
Well, I find that pretty much everyone I call or text says, who's Christopher? And I'm like, it's your brother. Like, nope, never heard of him. I'm like, what the?
You sound like a popular guy, Chris.
That's my life. So I wanted to ask, I think those are the questions we've got through, but I did have one more question. Okay, so let's say someone doesn't use the term stop, because stop like is an automatic thing. But let's say someone writes back like, you know, don't send me any more messages, right? well, that's not going to be an automatic. So like, what are you supposed to do? Like monitor those answers? Because it seems like a real pain to, if you got a lot of them, like what do you do about those types of things?
So you can take their phone number off of your list. You could do that. The phone number won't be automatically removed. Like our software will automatically remove someone's number that replies stop. What I would recommend doing, if you're looking at your inbox, let me just go here, right? So these kind of things, right? So someone responded opt out. What I could do is I could just hit reply and then just say, if you want to be removed, please reply stop. Just so that, because that way the software can work, because it takes them off of your list and you don't have to worry about trying to go and redo the list and then re-upload the list. Like that is very clunky, and software is meant to make things easier, not more difficult, right? So that's one of the reasons why we offer this ability to just get that one message back to that person, because they think they opted out, but they did not opt out. So.
But also like if they write like stop, it's automatic, right? Like you're not normally checking every single response, but if they don't write stop and they just say stop, like they just say don't send me any more messages, like how are you monitoring that? Like how are you going through and like seeing what other people write so that you know, oh gosh, this person said please don't send me messages?
Yeah, so if they say don't send me messages, I can actually go into the inbox as and when and respond and say we can take you off of the list. Please reply stop to get, like I can like to clarify that, to make sure that you're off of the list.
But do you recommend people then monitor all the people writing them back? Because if they because I think I might have done that in the past. I'm like, hey, I never signed up. Don't send me anything.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah. Right. So, but I think it's
because that becomes very cumbersome.
Yeah. Right. All right. So it's kind of on them, really. They kind of got to pay attention. If there's a word in there that says stop, they got to hit the word stop. And if they don't, then if you send them a message again, I mean, that's kind of on them.
Yes, and to be fair, the carriers really do a great job of helping to manage this. So normally when you receive a new message or a message that has stop to opt out in it, normally the predictive text feature on your phone will have stop right there. So all you have to do is press stop and it will pre-populate a message for you and send it back. So there are like so many different ways of helping, people who pay for these, this cell phone service to not get unwanted messages, right? So if someone is kind of unloading on you because they had a bad day and they're like, oh, I didn't ask for this. Like somehow we got your number. So you signed up on our list on our website about something, or you text me because you wanted, the promotion that I was, somehow you got on my list. And if you don't want to be there anymore, I'm giving you a way to get off of it. And that's the responsibility of a company sending these types of messages, because at some point what I was offering was attractive enough to you for you to get onto this list. So yeah, so you can definitely do that, because you can monitor it if you feel like you want to, but I would say we're talking about subscriptions for 1,250 messages a month, and that is message segments. So again, if someone wants to send a really long message, it might be multiple message segments, and it's the ingoing and the outgoing messages. So if you configure a keyword and people are responding, those messages are counted against that as well. Because some people are like, oh, I only have a few people that I want to message. Do I really need that many messages? They add up very quickly. So I would say, yes, you probably do need that many messages. But that is not millions of messages. If you're sending 50,000 messages a day or 1 million messages a day, then this is why I don't recommend combing through the responses, and that's why the software automatically takes them off the list. And sometimes, we have clients that'll upload a list of like, I don't know, 50,000 people or 25,000 people, and the system will count all the numbers on the list and say, hey, I know you uploaded 25,000, but we only have 24,873 because the balance has already either opted out of receiving messages from your, so there's lots going on in the background to make this happen, where software is not meant for manual tinkering. It's meant to be automatic. So I would not recommend trying to go in, and if you definitely want to do that, like if someone calls you, if you have a reader, someone that you have a great relationship with, and they call you and they say, hey, I know you're sending these text messages and I don't know how I opted in, but I don't want to receive it anymore. Then you could literally just go into the thing and say, okay, I'm going to send you this message right now. The last one that says stop, please respond to it. That says stop. And then the system will, you could have that conversation with them, but I just would not recommend you going in, adjusting your list, deleting messages, re-upload. That can become very cumbersome. So,
okay. Thank you. Yeah. Well, this was very informative, Bianca. I hope everybody, feels more comfortable with it, understands it more. Please make sure to take advantage of the member benefit. It's like 25% off is really cool. That's really this there. Yeah, look on the screen there. It's really helpful. So thank you. So I'm going to stop record, but then one more time for all the people who are not watching this as a recording, I'm going to tell everybody about the bonus offer one more time. But thanks everyone for watching, and thank you, Bianca. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.